Question is as well to the Premier of Ontario. On Friday, we learned that Ontario lost 34,000 jobs. That's equivalent to the town of St. Thomas, just for your information. The government's strategy of job reduction, of high taxes, high hydro bills, and the high cost of government is compromising the livelihood of tens of thousands of Ontarians. And today, when the Liberals retable their May budget, Ontario is expected to see a credit downgrade. That will cause further job losses in the province of Ontario. Two specific policies come to mind: the Ontario Pension Plan and the aviation fuel tax could cost Ontario massive job losses, according to the CFIB and Air Canada. Does the Premier really think that losing not just thousands of jobs, but tens of thousands of jobs is progressive?
Minister of Economic Development, Employment and Infrastructure. I have to finish.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let's talk about tens of thousands of jobs. Let's talk about the 50,000 jobs that have been created in this province from the partnerships that we've engaged in our regional economic development funds and our partnerships. Mr. Speaker, an approach supported by the people of Ontario on the last election, and your approach to cancel those programs was rejected. Let's talk about the 500,000 jobs, direct and indirect, in our auto sector, Mr. Speaker. We're going to continue to partner with our auto sector. Our Jobs and Prosperity Fund, which is part of this budget, Mr. Speaker, will spend $2.5 billion over 10 years to continue those partnerships. You opposed those funds, and the people of Ontario rejected your approach and supported ours. Mr. Speaker, we're going to continue to keep investing in this province. We're going to continue to keep partnering with our business community. We're going to continue to keep...
Thank you. Supplementary.
That rhetoric was all well and good for an election campaign, Speaker, but John Maynard Keynes once says, as the facts change, I change my mind. Well, the facts did change with a credit downgrade on the outlook for this province as a result of this budget. The government needs to understand, fewer jobs mean there are fewer people paying taxes for our schools, our hospitals, and our infrastructure. That means the Liberals will have to either raise taxes, cut services, or do both, all while giving our sovereignty over to credit rating agencies in New York and elsewhere in the world. The government needs to be honest with Ontarians right now. This is not the activist centre. This is an activist failure, Speaker. On top of the 34,000 jobs that we lost last month, will the Premier admit she is on track to losing tens of thousands of more jobs as a result of this 2014 budget?
Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as we've said, last month was not the best month for job creation in the province of Ontario. But if you look at the overall picture and the trends, we're up 460,000 net new jobs since the recession. That's the fact, Mr. Speaker. We're headed in the right direction. But I want to ask the member to think about this. How would it have looked last month, Mr. Speaker, if our numbers came in 100,000 less because of your plan to cut and fire 100,000 people in this province? Mr. Speaker, the people of Ontario chose well in the last election. They chose an economic plan that's having results, Mr. Speaker, that's going to continue to build a strong economy. They rejected your plan to lay off 100,000 people, Mr. Speaker. It's time for you to learn something from that. It's time for you to support our budget, to invest in infrastructure, to invest in partnerships, to keep building, Mr. Speaker, on the economic success that we've had to date.
Thank you. The member from Kitchener-Waterloo.